Live from Jefferson City, it's the This Week in Missouri Politics Midweek Update with Scott Faughn.
To Jake and the Fat Man, what we actually call the TWMP Midweek Update. I'm Scott Faughn. Jake Crozen, thanks for making the time. You've had a busy day.
Yeah, very busy day. A very productive day, I'd like to say.
Kudos to you on the Whispering Gallery. The second edition's outstanding. We have interesting stuff for tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I think we do.
Then we got the subscribers got to see the text of not only what happened, but who voted how.
Yep.
I had great response on that. Great work.
Yeah, it was pretty good to have that opportunity to put that out there.
We'll have a story up this afternoon about the speaker's vote.
Yep, absolutely.
Kelton, Sunday show, big show. We have now officially the speaker, John Patterson. We have Cindy O'Laughlin, Doug Beck, and Ashley Awney. The first show of the year, we always do a group of the top legislative leaders. But let's jump right into the story of the day. Story of the day is John Patterson's vote. There was a lot of noise on Facebook. There was a lot of noise on certain radio stations. But when they had the vote, it was like 150 to 10, right? It was a total landslide.
Yeah, absolutely. I will give it to him. He did beat the odds that we in the Whispering Gallery gave him for his votes, which I'll hand it to him on that. But it was definitely an interesting vote when you look at who voted for him.
So 6% of the chamber, 94 to 6 was the final total. Even though you do credit Sparks, I always said I thought if he got to 10. And he keeps that coalition together of just being malcontents. Mm-hmm. You won't move legislation that way, but you might do two things. You could continue to get attention with 10, right? I think you continue to speak out and criticize the House Republican. The problem with doing a Senate, what Jim Lemke made in the Missouri Senate, right, is if two senators stand up in the Missouri Senate, the legislative process comes to a screeching halt.
Yep.
If 10 legislators out of 111-seat supermajority stand up, no one cares.
Nope.
But you could get people on the internet to care. You could get people, maybe radio hosts, who feel like it's they get a like or they get a listen if you attack Republicans. I do think Sparks came out of this because expectations were low. I think 10. He's got to feel pretty good about 10. I mean, Now, Were they a bunch of freshmen? Sure, we're going to go through the list here. Mm. But I still think 10 is a respectable number.
Yeah.
I wonder how well it'll work having the Democrats. Very, very gracious speech by Ashley Awney, removing her name from.
Yeah, it was. I thought she gave a really good speech. Obviously, she had the right to challenge if she wanted to, but I thought she did. A pretty impressive thing by stepping down and saying, I'm going to decline. I don't want to cause problems. I want to see, basically saying I want to see the House succeed this year. And I thought she did a pretty good job in that speech.
Although I'm not sure it really helps Patterson that they voted for him.
No. I think...
would have tanked Sparks.
Yeah.
If they'd all voted for Sparks.
Yeah.
that would have been the jiu-jitsu move. But look, I have a high regard for Ashley Awney. I think she's going to do a very good job. I'll tell you this, she has big shoes to fill in Crystal Quaid. But I think I think we had a Crystal Quaid sign here. Yeah, I don't have the Crystal Quaid for governor sign. I have an OG Crystal Quaid for state rep sign back here by my Doug Libeless sign. So no, I thought it was an interesting thing. I tell you what, let's go through the list here. Mm-hmm. We have Durnell, West Plains.
Yes.
We have Elliott from Donovan, Maisie Boyd Christensen from the great Northwest. Self, because of course, with every fit throw, there has to be a St. Charles County person in there.
Yep, absolutely.
Sparks voted for himself. Patterson did not vote, right?
No, Patterson was the one rep who did not vote.
Yeah, he didn't vote. Sparks did vote for himself to get him a 10.
Which is usually tradition for opposite sides to vote for each other out of respect, but he did not vote.
Bob Titus,
who is usually the rusty nail of the caucus.
There's Don Mayhew can be a rusty nail, but Don Mayhew gets stuff done.
Yeah.
There's a rusty nail. Sometimes that rusty nail uses it to affect what they're trying to do.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just the point of being one, right?
Yep.
Wolflin, who gave the nominating speech from St. John.
That was the one I was most surprised by. From what I was being told by a couple people, he was not on any of the lists, and so he definitely shocked a couple of people in the House gallery today.
Jordan from Dexter, Sauter County, I should say. Dale Wright, interesting one. Dale Wright being a guy. Now, I don't know this. I like Dale Wright a great deal. Farmington guy. Love Farmington, folks. Shout out to Tom Burcham, Kevin Engler, St. Francis County overall, Casey Burns, Mike Henderson. We could go on for a while. However, I will say, I think Dale might have had some misgivings with Patterson about his chairmanship next year.
Yeah.
I think, look, I respect Dale Wright a great deal, but I think it's honestly true that some of the Plocker drama, some folks fell back to him, and I don't think it's nuts or outlandish that Patterson decided he wanted a different accounts chair.
Yep. That was a question that came up quite a bit in the press conference today with Patterson, was if the former speaker problems were going to bleed over into this session, and he said no, but I definitely think
this did.
Yeah.
I mean, I look, do I think Dale Wright's a good dude, very successful man, a guy that I respect and like, very successful businessman in Farmington, part of the state I favor in many ways. However, I do think, it's one of these things where it's understandable that Dale Wright's angry, and it's understandable that John Patterson wanted to go a different direction with that committee.
Yep.
There were, out of that whole House mess last year, there were issues with consistencies surrounding that accounts committee. I see it's one of those things where I see both people's points. I'm not sure that I wonder if Dale, when he leaves Jeff City, gosh, what are we now? We're 16 months from now.
Yeah.
I wonder if 16 months from now, when he's driving back to Farmington, I wonder if he'll feel good about this one. He very well may. I mean, Dale's a strong-willed, successfwhelmed dude, but I wonder if he'll feel good about it. Then we had a Whaley from Stone County, right?
Yep.
Burton?
Burton Whaley, who replaced who is it down there? Brad Hudson. Yep, replaced Brad Hudson.
Well, I'll just tell you, there's a couple things I noticed about this. One, it's predominantly freshmen.
Yep.
You have Titus, who no one is surprised. It's like there were some Eric Greitens people that I'm like, oh my God, Jason Crowell and John Lamping. Eric Greitens, sanctimonious. I'm the only honest person in the world. Everybody sucks but me. That line is just tailor made for Lamping and Crowell, right? That if you could design a mousetrap to catch them, it would be a bunch of sanctimonious, holier than thou, I'm the only conservative,
Yep.
and pay them attention. I would say let's just blow the place up is a Bob Titus argument.
Yep.
Is a Maisie Boyd Christensen argument where she's in, and I think there's a personal relationship with Justin Sparks. So you have of the senior members, you had Dale Wright, who is in no way in the I'm just going to throw a fit crowd.
No.
Dale is your ultimate successful Trump businessman Republican.
Mm-hmm.
He had a personal grudge. Titus, Maisie, okay, let's burn everything down. It's kind of in their thing, right? I'm not surprised either of them would sign up for let's just burn it down to watch it burn, right?
Yeah.
Then the rest of these are freshmen.
Yeah, which I mean isn't surprising to see somebody come in and whip the freshmen up into a frenzy about their central committees are going to primary. I don't know if that's was said, but I could definitely see somebody going around saying that you're going to get primaried if you don't toe this line.
I think that's a great. If I'm on the Sparks team, that's a terrific line of attack.
Yeah.
If you don't vote for me, we're coming after you. I think that House members are notoriously very thin-skinned and very skittish and very attention-seeking. And I think you probably saw some of that here, right?
Yeah, and there were a good number of freshmen who didn't stick with that, and they went for John Patterson, Ron Fowler, and Mike Steinmeier over in Jackson County, for instance. But it'll be interesting to see if this.
Well, that Central Committee.
But it'll be interesting if this kind of stays in the air during session this year.
Well, sure it will. I mean, look, you talked about will any of Dean's problems bleed over? Yeah, I think that Dale Wright is proof that yes, those things bleed over. But let me tell you what I see on this list. Not just a couple burners down, a grudge, an ambitious politician, and six freshmen.
Yeah,
I see one part of the state that is ready to burn things down.
Really?
And I'm going to be honest with you. Missouri, can I talk to you for a second? You treat SEMO like shit. You treat SEMO like absolute shit. They shit on Southeast Missouri. This Republican Party does at every turn. You know how many people in the cabinet are from Southeast Missouri? There was one.
Oh, yeah.
Not anymore. Not as of Friday.
Yeah. Was it the director of revenue?
It was. Yeah. There was a deputy director from SEMO. Not anymore. Hell, they even fired another guy just because he's from SEMO. That Republican Party shits on SEMO at an amazing clip. They do nothing for SEMO, and they're proud of it. They shit on them. The only person, let me just help you out. The only person in this state I've ever seen give a damn about Southeast Missouri is Lincoln Huff. Lincoln Huff actually did do some things for Southeast Missouri. He is the absolute only one that gives a shit. And maybe you saw in this situation, you have Darnell from West Plains, who's ready to just burn it down. You have Wolfland from St. John, Jordan from Dexter. You have Elliott from Ripley County. A group of people who, frankly, just don't care. And are like, but I'm not sure after SEMO had probably more stroke than they deserve for a while. They went on a heck of a run there.
Yeah.
From Jetton to Tilly, Crowell was very influential, Todd Richardson, and it kind of began to our influence in state government and what state government did for Southeast Missouri began to wane around that time.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you.
And they're a loyal bunch, too. If you look back at the lieutenant governor primary,
Stupidly
they stuck with Holly Rader through and through.
Stupidly loyal. Dumbass. We're just stupid in Southeast Missouri. We're just stupid. But maybe they're just like, okay, I'm tired of constantly getting shit on by this party.
Yeah.
I mean, this party has an absolute grudge against Southeast Missouri. And we'll see. I mean,
it'll be. I think the big test will be if Jamie Berger stands up in the Senate and puts his foot down and says, "I'm going to stand up for my area of the state."
I think that you talk about a dude who ain't gonna cry on Facebook. He ain't gonna go become some kind of Pueblo Indian and start doing every weekend broadcast about his list of grievances. But you want a dude that's gonna actually do stuff? Jamie, I am as excited about Jamie Berger as I've been about an incoming senator since probably Lincoln 6 years ago. If you know the truth, I still Cliff Smart and I had dinner, and I was like, Lincoln's going to be one of the best. He'll be an honest to God replacement for Wasson, although it was just an adjoining district, and I think I was right about that. Jamie Berger's going to be an absolute stud in the Senate,
and he's the most dangerous kind of stud, which is one who knows how to get things done.
He's a winner.
Yep.
That's what I do think you're seeing with Senator Bean getting seniority, a stud in Jamie. You got Mike Henderson, who knows how to work things. You've got Cameron Parker, who's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
When I first met her, I was like, "You're the next big thing," because I think she's that talented. You have Burcham's going to run for state rep in Farmington, actually in Dale Wright's seat. I think that's got potential to be very good. If we don't claim Jeff Coe in Southeast Missouri, but if we did, I would say David Castile is going to be a big deal. You look around the state, you saw Joe Steelman file, you have Bill Hardwick, Ann Mayhew. Maybe the tide is turning for SEMO, but one thing that is a running theme in SEMO, the Great Northwest has no problem demanding theirs, right? St. Charles, good God, will cry all day about everything. We don't demand things. And I think that I'm looking at this list and I'm seeing 5 of the 10 people be from the 8th district. And I'm like, well, I'm not shocked by that.
Yeah.
That is not shocking me, because at some point you get tired of being screwed. Even a whore gets tired of being screwed at some point, right? So that's interesting. We'll see. I think you start wondering, why are you a Republican at some point? I mean, if they're just going to shit on you, why,
It'll be interesting if they push it any further. I think it'll be pretty interesting if the rural Republicans come out and say, we want to actually get some of our stuff done.
Well, look at this. That legislature is 24/7 obsessed with the city of St. Louis.
Yep.
Not a Republican to be found.
Yep.
But all they talk about, every one of them, is St. Louis, St. Louis, St. Louis, St. Louis, St. Louis. Do any of them ever talk about SEMO? You can't even get a bill to get farmers' health insurance on the floor. They laugh you out. They could care less. And I'll tell you why. I don't blame the city people for treating us like crap, because we don't demand any different.
Yeah.
Now, maybe these 5 are going to, again, 5 House members would have to, multiply 6 times for anybody to care.
Yep.
But maybe over time, you could see a different world. I mean, if Keith Elliott says, damn it, Donovan's done getting screwed, I'm not voting for anything in committee or anything. I'm voting against the party all the time. How is he worse?
I don't know.
I don't know that he is. So maybe they'll start caring about Southeast Missouri at least somewhere. Someone besides Lincoln Huff would care about SEMO. Hell, it'd be the first time. So we'll see. It's interesting to watch. So this is a great thing I noticed in your story notes. So Patterson wins 150 to 10 or 152 to 10 or whatever. I still think it's a sign of how dumb the plan was when 10 votes is like, well, that's pretty good. I only lost 94 to 6%. And you're kind of like, sweet guys, yes, we only got our ass drummed, 94 to 6. But going forward, they said, is there going to be retribution?
Yeah, they in the press conference, one of the questions asked was if there's going to be retribution against any of those members, and John Patterson said no. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there is really going to be retribution or not.
Well, I mean, look, if you're John Patterson, I think the smart move is this. You have a couple ways you can go with this thing. Number one, you just try to kiss everyone's ass and bring them in the tent.
Yeah.
I think for a Senate leader, that's a better play than a speaker. A speaker has to be powerful. He has to wield that power. And the only way anybody's going to believe you get your bluff in is actually do it. To me, it feels like the best move would be you punish Sparks, you give him joke committees.
Yeah.
But I would bring the rest of them in.
No, yeah.
I mean, Dale maybe burned his bridge, right? But he's only
the
there.
Freshman, if I was Patterson, I would understand why the freshman did something, not entirely thought out. And I would bring him in. I would say, you know what? I am not going to hold this against you. I want to work as much as possible with you guys on legislation. But I would definitely hold the person who initiated this challenge to account for making it such a big deal.
Well, and again, I'll break it down. I don't think it's fair to critique Justin Sparks for running for speaker.
No. I think holding him account for what he said about Patterson, I would
to me, Speaker of the House is a tremendous honor. It is an amazing honor to have people elected from all over this state elect you as the leader of their body, of their elected representatives. That's an amazing honor. And if he has to run, for floor leader, then he has to run for Speaker Pro Tem, then he has to run the campaigns in the fall, and then he even has to go another 2 months all the way to today. I don't feel an ounce sorry for John Patterson.
I think
and I don't think John Patterson is asking anybody to feel sorry for him. But I'll tell you what I do think. I think there's a true, honest, it's 163 people's right to run for Speaker if they want to, and I think that's their right. And I don't feel sorry for anybody whining, I've never heard Patterson do this, but what I think, if I'm a legislator, if I'm my state rep, Hardy Billington, I think I'm a little pissed that you're saying the FBI should investigate me when I'm raising money to bring your colleagues back. I think there's a legit, now maybe Justin Sparks, and I don't know this, maybe he's went to some of his members and said, look, I may have been a little heavy rhetoric. I don't know. But if I'm a legislator, I'm like, you're calling me crooked and trying to get me thrown in freaking jail, man.
Yep.
You're trying to use the same tactics that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden used against Trump, the lawfare. And I think the rank and file members that put their heads down and helped elect 111 Republicans, bring 111 back, I think those folks that are in the trenches are owed an apology. Mm-hmm. And you know what? This is where you can tell about Justin Sparks. Does he go give it to him? Because I do think there's a part of it that's like, you know what? I should have been speaker. I wanted to be speaker, which everybody wants to be speaker. Good for you. Ambition's not a bad
Kelton
thing.
wants to be speaker.
Yeah, Kelton make a damn fine speaker. Probably a better speaker than a bookie.
I might have some speaking skills up my sleeve.
So, but I do think some of those attacks, which I don't think were logical or reasonable, but if I'm them, I'm like, before we bury the hatchet, I didn't attack you. You attacked me. You better vote.
Yeah, I wonder if
That makes sense.
I wonder if he would go in front of somebody like Bill Allen or Phil Oler King and say,
Yeah.
"You really shouldn't have been here because you shouldn't have got that fundraising money."
Yep.
I wonder if he would do that, and he probably wouldn't. But if
Well, I mean,
maybe
look,
he would.
you know, if you're Justin Sparks today, you've just kind of got beat by.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to. I guess if I'm him, I feel a little bit like he's got a little bit to hang on to. But I mean, the scoreboard is what it is. He's not going to be speaker.
No.
Probably going to have a quite small office in some mezzanine somewhere instead of that nice corner office overlooking the railroad tracks of the river. So, and maybe it's a little raw, but in a week or two, I think that smooths that over. Now, I'm Patterson, and I'm announcing committee chairs next week. I sure as hell ain't forgetting this, right?
No. Nope.
But if I'm your rank and file, folks, you verbally attack me, you come back and say my bad. You know, most people just don't care. They just don't care. So going forward, I think the interesting lessons from that list are freshmen influenced a little bit maybe by local folks, which again, hey,
That's one tactic.
here's the thing:
That's
it's
one
their
way.
vote.
Yeah.
Was what Wolfland did smart? I think most folks would say probably not the way you want to introduce yourself to your colleagues right on the House floor. But whatever. I mean, it's his look. It's your right to do anything you want, including be a clown, and that's good for him. That's what he chose to do. I don't think Patterson will be particularly vengeful against them.
Yeah.
But I would say probably the interesting person here in all of this is Alex Riley.
Yep.
He is the interesting one because what is he going to do? I mean, if you look at this list, if I'm Justin Sparks, the one thing I take away from it is, okay, I got a crew. If I can keep this crew together, one thing you look at, all that list will be back except for Dale Wright.
Yep.
Which is really not part of his crew.
And in some of the interviews so far with some of the Freedom Caucus members, I think Holly Jones was the most notable in my book, was where she said she doesn't agree with John Patterson. I think she said she didn't vote for him originally, but she voted for him later. That's going to be an interesting dynamic that Alex Riley's got to deal with, is how many people are actually dissatisfied with Patterson, but they voted for him because they think he's a good leader.
Well, I could tell you how many people are dissatisfied with Patterson. Very few.
Yeah.
Until he announces committee chairs. Then some people will be disappointed. And then some people, when they don't get their bill passed, will be disappointed. Then some people in the Senate laughs at their 8 million House bills they pass and doesn't get to them. They're going to blame Patterson.
Yep.
And then there'll be a little bit of a lull. Then once session starts and once he refers the major bills, about 54 weeks from now, people will complain about John Patterson like they complain about every speaker. It is when you're a 2-year speaker and you're term limited, it handcuffs you.
Yeah.
And I think Alex Riley has been dealt a challenge in when he starts to count up his speaker designee votes. You got 9 that I think you start with wondering, okay, how do I make sure I don't have a problem with these 9? Because if Alex Riley can tamp down these 9, then I think he's fine, right?
Yeah. And does Justin Sparks make another appearance and try to get the Freedom Caucus to go along with it?
Don't you think?
That's
I
gonna
mean,
be
I would say
interesting,
that's
yeah.
his move. I mean,
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I bet you'll see. I bet you'll see Alex Riley reach out to him, and I just don't know what is gained from Sparks. Well, I mean, coming in the fold, what does that do for you?
I don't know.
I mean, you don't get the attention. You can pretty well trust the people you've been dogging out for however many weeks, 12 weeks, are probably not really going to help you do anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If I'm him, I don't know what they possibly have to sell that he would want to buy or why they would even try.
Yeah.
But now I could see them going to the other people on this list and being like, come on out of the cold.
Yeah.
You don't have to be out there. And Bob Titus is going to be like, no, I'm good. Maisie's proven she's going to be like, no, I don't want to be in. Mm-hmm. But some of these other freshmen, I think they may be wanting to, they may be ones that are like, yeah, I'll come in out of the cold. So let's talk about some other things going on. Kelton the Show Sunday. John Patterson, Cindy O'Loughlin, Doug Beck, Ashley Ani. Kelton, you tell me, is there any other Sunday show that's going to bring you all 4 legislative leaders?
Not that I know of.
Hell no, there's not. Whispering Gather tomorrow. Story about this race will be up this afternoon. Angie Nelson. We, as you might know, Kelton and I are detectives. We did a DI investigation. The department, look, it was just ramshackled. It just was what it was. Here, Tyler Hobbs is going over there. Good man. Do a good job at DCI. But the person that's the interim was a great pick. Mm-hmm. Terrific pick. You had Clore Lindley Myers retired. Retired.
Do you think they mailed her a cake to wherever she's vacationing at right now?
You know, I bet it costs a lot of money to send it wherever she was.
Probably it's destroyed by now.
Something tells me it didn't get sent to her house in Russellville.
No.
I think it didn't get sent to Atlanta, Missouri, up there where my buddy Aaron Baker lives. It'd have to get sent a very long way from here because, hell, you couldn't find her here. But,
nope.
So I'm not even sure. The truth is it's only been a week and a day. Has she been in the office any more last month than she has been this month? I mean, I'm not sure. I think that'd be a pretty close race. But anyway, she retired. The last time, there was a very liberal governor from the city of St. Louis named Eric Greitens. He made John Rehagen the interim director. Mike Parson, the old sheriff, was having none of that. He named Mick Campbell the director. And again, most people don't want a bunch of crazy passes. They just want normal, regular regulation. Yep. They don't want to fight. They just want to be normal. They don't want to do a bunch of goofy woke crap. They just want normal jobs. And if you're John Rehagen, it's you essentially let the red flag fly. It was Harris Walt's campaign headquarters in Cole County. It was over at DCI. Now, as I understand, thank God I'm a country boy. They got their MAGA hats out. I hear it every break. You get a free MAGA hat. Rehagen gives it to himself. He's MAGA now. MAGA. He went from left wing to MAGA like that. But Angela Nelson, who is Angela Nelson is a very talented person. Had been in the department before it went woke. Mm-hmm. Has been over at AAA doing some government liaison. I mean, it's going to come down to this, and I hope she has an answer because everybody wants to see Mike Kehoe do well. Yep. Most everybody. Probably the people that voted for Pat Sparks probably don't see Kehoe do well. I don't see anybody do well, right? But Dale Wright will want to see Kehoe do well. I believe that. The rest.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Most of these are freshmen. Nobody knows anything about them, right?
Yeah.
So who knows? I know Steve Jordan by reputation because being from South Missouri, solid dude. Keith Elliott, I have friends that know him. They say really good guys. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't know the gentleman from St. Genevieve. The French are a little different, over in St. Gen. They're not as tuned in to the Rhineland Germanic people a little further west. So I guess Angela Nelson will have to say, okay, you've got this John Rehagen problem in this department. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And I would say she needs to have an answer for that. Now, honestly, here's the thing: if she's like, no, Rehagen's my man, we're staying woke. We're not even sleeping. We're so woke over there. Then I think you're gonna have some people that even for Mike Kehoe's appointee is gonna be like, I'm not down for this. I did not get elected to do woke shit.
Yeah. And I don't think Mary Elizabeth Coleman's going to let go of that issue.
She made it very clear. Yep. She did not get elected to be woke. Did David Gregory get elected to be woke? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I would assume David Gregory, probably when he meets with her, will, again, everybody's going to want to start off seeing her do well. I believe that. I don't think there's anybody that's going to be like, let's be a problem for Kehoe.
Yep.
But I think people have a right, because how desperately bad the department has been ran, to say, whoa, you've got a problem over there. What are you going to do about it? Mm-hmm. Now, do I think if she says, I'm going to handle it, I'm going to ring fence him in, I'm going to end the DI stuff, I'm on this, I think there'll be some people willing to give her a shot. But I mean, what I'll give you, this is my Steinem knowledge prediction, Missouri. Let me just tell you this. Steinem knowledge prediction is this: Angela Nelson, top flight pick. Kehoe has a team of generally top flight people. She's a Missourian. That's the first thing. Good. She actually lives in Missouri. That also is quite helpful.
Who knew that would be a bonus?
Who knew you even had to ask for that shit? But she actually lives here. Number 2, check. was not part of the woke revolution. She was gone when the place was trending woke. Then it went, once she was left, the place went hard left, I guess, and that would be hard left. But I guess it would be camera left, right? Yeah. So if you're watching at home, it was right the first time. She's got a couple people over there that just have a real hatred for rural Missouri. If you live on a gravel road, you're the problem. If you wear camo to church, you deserve to be treated ridiculously awful by your government. And they want to instrument this left-wing Marxist insanity that Donald Trump's against, that Mike Keogh says he's against, that Mike Bernskoetter says he's against. So I guess the point would be, now that you're here in Cole County, you're represented by Senator Mike Bernskoetter, I assume Mike Bernskoetter is going to be like, what are you doing about that department over there with all the problems?
Yeah.
And if her answer is, no, we're good. We're going to keep everybody. No problems. And Mike Bernsketter's like, cool. Yeah. Let's be woke. Then I think you have a right to be like, well, wait a minute. You said you weren't for all this woke crap.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see.
It'll be interesting to see if she says, I'm going to rein him in, and how many senators don't want to get bullshit at this time.
There you go.
And stand up and say, actually, we're not going to let you just kind of...
Fool me once, shame on you. Yeah. Fool me 18 times. So I can just say what'll happen from here. Your old hillbilly pal, I actually have heard nothing but amazing things about Angie Nelson. Yep. I have heard nothing but almost so much praise that I'm like, hey, calm down. What the hell? But I give you a white trash prediction. The meetings with the senators will leak out. I'm just going to guess. Kelton, what's the odds on when they meet with the Missouri State Senator that I find out what she said?
I'd say your odds are pretty good on that.
Pretty good. Yeah, I'd take the bet that you won't have very many meetings with Missouri senators, and I'm not going to find out what you said. And I would say, in order to have this very talented, qualified person do well, I'd have a Rehagen answer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
His leaving would be the answer that people want. If you want to... It's like, all right, let me just do an analogy here. It's like Chaim Bloom, the general manager in waiting of the failing St. Louis Cardinals. If you're asked about Ollie Marmol and you're Chaim Bloom, number one, you don't do interviews yet. Because they're going to ask you, are you keeping this loser manager? That was a Mosaic problem. Are you going to continue this? Now, if you're Ollie Marmol and you say you obviously want to stay, if you're Ray Hagan, you want to keep your power. You've had this power for so long. You've lorded over rural Missouri people. You've bashed them and bashed them and bashed them and bashed them. To me, the nuance here is going to come down to if you're Chaim Bloom, if you say you're firing Marmol, will Marmol take the hint and leave? Probably not. The answer that everybody that asks you this question wants to hear is, yeah, I'm firing Ollie Marmol. Duh. He sucks. He's never won anything. He made it to one playoff game, and he blew that game personally when he took out Quintana. If you're Angie Nelson and they're like, well, are you keeping your Ollie Marmol? The answer is no.
Yeah.
We want winners.
That's probably the first question she's preparing for on her list right now.
I mean, let's be honest. She's going to meet with senators.
Yep.
How many senators are from rural Missouri? There is. Let me help you out here. In the supermajority party, there is a supermajority from rural Missouri. So when she has these meetings, I would be prepared to ask about, what are you going to do with the person in your department that is the number one enemy of rural Missouri? Mm-hmm. Firing him, or I'm not a fan of firing, if you want the truth. You retire. Yep. He's going to take his vacation.
There's no cake for firing.
That's
well,
true.
Maybe there is in some places.
Well, you don't get the cake. Everybody else gets the cake.
Everybody gets it. Yeah.
When you leave with your box, everybody else has the cake. You slide him over to something else. Is he an advice? I mean, look, I'm a believer that whether or not he's hated rural Missouri, if the guy is within 6 months of getting his pension, man, I don't think you just shit can people like that.
Yeah.
I get it, but I'm not. I've watched, man, that ain't a great way to do stuff. But you definitely get him out of the spot. And so, there's any number of answers she could have. The best answer is, he's gone when you confirm me.
Yep.
Then I think people are going to be like carrying her on their shoulders. She's going to be lauded as the greatest. Mm-hmm. Some of these more nuanced approaches you might take is going to get you scrutinized like all hell. And it is a big department with a lot of responsibility. And yes, if it's like the Cardinals, right? If you're Chaim Bloom and you keep Ollie Marmol, people are gonna be like, "What the hell, dude? You're not in charge. You just suck. You're endorsing sucking." And if you keep rehagging, you're gonna be endorsing wokeness. And I'm just gonna tell you, if you're Hein Bloom and you come in the first day and say, "Ollie, thanks so much for the really shitty baseball," you're fired.
Yep.
I think everybody's like, "Okay, this dude's on it. I like this new guy." If you come in and say, "Ollie Marmol, you've been a shitty manager. How about doing it next year?" Everybody's gonna be like, "This guy sucks." And if you're Angela Nelson, here's the deal: if you come to Rehagen and say, "Hey, look, you've had a great career. We're gonna get you to your retirement date. Let's get Moses on the phone. Let's work this out." But you're not screwing with any. You're only doing Chesterfield Lee Summit stuff.
Yep.
You are no longer doing Dexter West Plains. You are no longer doing Chillicothe. That is not anything that not a 314 number. You're not allowed to answer it. And let's yeah, man, okay. If she just comes in and says you're fired, then everybody she's Hein Bloom.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna be like, wow, this person knows how to govern. Just cut the BS, get it done. And if you come in and say, no, I'm gonna manage him and make it better, you're Hein Bloom with keeping Ollie Marmol.
Yeah.
And while she may be as talented and as wonderful as everyone says, and I actually believe that, I mean, you've done this as long as I have, and you have as sizable and as gut as I do for these things. I think she will be good. But look, if you just put your hand in the bear trap and it snaps, not that many people feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
If you literally see a bear trap, if you see an electric outlet and you get a paper clip and you straighten it out, here you go. If you get this Benton County Museum from Warsaw, Missouri, this is a railroad spike. Do you know what this is? Out of the railroad put in Benton County. If you were to take this and stick it in the socket, don't be surprised when it electrocutes you. No one's going to feel sorry for you. If I handed you this railroad spike and you stuck it in that electric socket and you got electrocuted,
There's got to be one nearby.
then I don't feel bad for you. I feel like you're an idiot, or you just want to do this.
Yep.
You want to be electrocuted, or you're dumb. So I'm actually a believer that she will, if the things I've heard are right, she has a plan. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm not a person that thinks you come there and fire people. I mean, you know.
And if I was Meg Kehoe, I would sit down with her and make sure that she had a plan for this that was going to work out, because I think
before she meets with senators.
Yeah, because I think that'll be an immediate response by the senators is to question whether or not Kehoe takes that seriously. Because if that's one of the people that he personally picks to run that department, that's going to be a question that comes up in the senator's mind: is Kehoe really serious about this?
And not just the senator's mind. Everybody that listened to Kehoe when he said, "I'm ending this woke crap." Are you? Mm-hmm. I mean, are you? If you're no, look, I know what you're thinking right now. The director got fired. Stop whining. And I've told you from the beginning, no one would ever have kept that director. No one. Not Ashcroft, not even Crystal would have kept that director. She didn't show up for work. And it was there was two things. The interim director, which, flying colors. And I have no doubt, I don't know this, I always like to be clear, but I firmly believe there was some communication with Kehoe and Parson about who we're going to put as interim. Mm-hmm. And Mick Campbell, maybe Parson did it totally alone, I don't know. But I have watched Mike Parson do every possible. He's bent over backwards at every turn. I mean, hell, when we were there, they were taking the pictures off the walls. Yep. Like, when you shot that documentary, they were taking pictures off the walls. Mike Parsons is in everything to make it a smooth transition for Mike Kehoe. Yep. And I would assume he had a phone call about who he wants your intro.
I think this has been a fantastic transition. I think this is the best transition that Kehoe could ask for.
Well, I think, and I'll tell you what I think that is. I've watched these transition teams. And it's a lot of big names. Big names have big egos and big schedules. So what happens is you've got your core group of people, then you got your big names around them. Mm-hmm. The big name people, you can't schedule them for calls because imagine getting people's schedules lined up that are big running companies and stuff. It's hard. Yeah. Then if you don't pick their person, you have a lot of pressure. Mike Kehoe went and got a transition team. People are going to work for him. Yep. The people on the transition team are the people that's going to be in his office. I think that was a very wise move, and I think it's paying dividends for him.
And it helped him, too, that he had some great people already there.
Yes. I think that's been a big – I think other people will look at that and think that was a smart play. Yep. Just to wrap this up, what we learned today? We learned that the Courtyard by Marriott is the only place to take folks if they're going to bring them to town. If you're coming for the inauguration, I'm just going to – Missouri, listen to me. Thank you for your text. I cannot get you in the Courtyard by Marriott for inauguration. Honestly, I mean, I've begged Randolph to build a manger so that people that can't get in the rooms could sleep in the manger.
My own parents asked if they could get in. And I told them no.
I mean, maybe Mike Keogh could get you a room. That's the only person I could think of that could get you a room. I cannot get you room for inauguration at the Courtyard by Marriott. Now, maybe at the Fairfield or something. You know, I might get you there. But I'm sorry, folks. I have no capacity to get you in the Courtyard by Marriott at this on January 8th. People have been texting me since Christmas, and I'm like, are you out of your mind? I've been telling you, book your inauguration room in July. You gotta, you know. So that said, number 2, United Fiber, the absolute best folks in rural broadband. I want to thank their sponsors. I want to thank my buddy Dave Marshak. Give me this sweet Yeti.
That is a nice one.
It's a Top Flight Yeti, serving as our sign of knowledge for the day. We learned that there were 10 reps, Republicans, voted against Patterson, voted for Sparks. Dale Wright, it might have been a grudge.
Yeah.
Bob Titus, he might just be looking for a cause.
Yeah.
Him and Maisie. So and then Sparks voted for himself. It was a little weird, but
that's honestly a normal
if
day.
If I was
for
Sparks,
Bob
I'd have
Titus.
voted for me.
Yeah.
I would have totally voted for myself. If I was Justice Sparks, I'd have been like, boom, whatever the red, I'd boom in. We learned there's 6 freshmen, 5 of them from SEMO. 5.
I hope he's taking them out for dinner tonight and saying, thanks for sticking by me. The next few months might be rough for you.
I think that the entire Republican Party should pick anyone from SEMO and take them to dinner and buy them drinks and say, we're sorry we've neglected you. We can't believe you're so stupid to keep voting for us, but since you seem determined to do so, maybe we should turn this relationship around. We learned maybe there's hope on the front for SEMO, but start demanding stuff.
Yeah.
St. Louis City elects no Republicans, and the entire party is obsessed with them.
Yep. Even Jackson County, who got a speaker today and just said, nah, we want the St. Charles guy.
First time in history, shout out to, could call him smartass Mark Morath, for the 1985 World Series Cup. Who would thought? Amir, what is this? I'm not good at math. This is 40 years later, after the 10/26/85 terrorist attack. Jackson Countyans prefer a St. Louisan over a Jackson Countyans.
Yep.
Who'd have thought? Groundbreaking. But I noticed no Jackson County reps voted for Sparks.
Not at all. Yeah.
It's almost like they didn't give a damn what they thought.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
If you're in Jackson County politics, you kind of learn.
And folks, we will see you Sunday on This Week in Missouri Politics.